Hey there, it's Ion Franchising, Lance Gralick. I'm your host.
Up next,
Over
12
a
months into
million,
running. Yeah, like it is
over
bananas.
$1 million in revenue. Year one.
First year. I mean, there's no better investments that I've seen in the space.
Yeah. So if you want to own a private plane, you have somebody to look to ask, how do I get a private plane? How did you do that? Right?
Amen to that.
And today, Colt Florence. Colt is Senior Vice President, Franchise Development for 5-Star Franchising. Colt, welcome to the show.
Lance, I am pumped to be here. Thank you for having me.
So excited to have you. Look, big question. You know, business ownership is one of those topics. I think the secret is out. People know owning a business is one of the best ways to build wealth, but still a lot of questions. Franchise, should I get into a franchise? Or what about these acquisitions? Supposedly all of these old folks are retiring and they still have a fax machine, and we're going to put our own technology in and improve this business, and we're off to the races. So franchise versus an independent acquisition. What say you, Colt Florence?
Oh, yes. It is that old question we get all the time. People think that purchasing cash flow is the easiest way of going about getting into business ownership. And I think it is one of the largest misconceptions that anybody, especially if you're looking at getting into business ownership for your first time, could make. It's a bad decision. And here's why. A lot of times when somebody looks at purchasing a business and purchasing cash flow, there's a lot of things they don't take into consideration. The first one is, even though you're purchasing cash flow coming in, your debt is going to be substantially higher to acquire that cash flow. So even though on a P&L it looks fantastic, at the end of the day, you still have a lot of debt on the background that you're paying off. A lot of that cash flow goes towards it. So the net profitability of the business actually goes out the door pretty quick as you're paying off the debt that you had to take to purchase the business from day one. The second one is you're buying a lot of problems. You're stepping into a business, and even though you think I can make an impact, I think I could change some things up, I think it's going to be very successful, you're actually stepping in and purchasing problems that are already existing. Problems you didn't create, problems you weren't expecting, and problems that are inevitably going to come. And so it actually tends to be a lot harder from day one to step into an existing business for that reason, because there's so many problems. And it's going to be a long time to fix those problems associated with, once again, the dream of the cash flow that's already associated with that business. But I'd say last, and this is the biggest mistake everybody makes, is they think that the business will stay status quo. They think that the employees are dedicated to it. They think that even a massive change that comes through is not going to change business operations. I've never seen that happen. I've never seen that happen. And what tends to happen is somebody buys the business, the owner who just sold it steps out, and they're now, living in the Bahamas, living their best life because they just retired based off of that acquisition. And you step in, and day one, your general manager says, yeah, you know what? I really didn't want that. I actually liked working for the other person. I don't think I'm going to stay here. I'm out of here. And now you're screwed. You're screwed. I mean, that's what ends up happening is you say, well, excuse my language, shit, what do I do now? I'm not experienced in this industry. I'm not sure. And the one person who could keep the wheels on this bus for me just left. And so the only time I've ever seen an acquisition actually work is where the founder stays on and says, I'll actually continue to run this business for you. And guess what? Most of the time that doesn't happen. Most of the time they're looking to exit, they're looking to retire. And so when you look at it compared to franchise ownership, the question is, why would you take all those problems and take all those risks where you could build it directly how you want from day one with support and still get to the same cash flow, same profitability, but with a lot less issues and in all honesty, a lot less cash associated with growing that business to get it to that point.
Yeah, and whoever said time is money was a genius, because I come across so many people that come to me and say, Lance, I am so tired of looking for a great existing business to buy. I just want to get into a franchise. What can I get into essentially tomorrow? Well, here are things available by you. So thank you for that. So let's dive into let's talk about the show me the money piece, my favorite part of all of these episodes, because people listening heard you answer that question so wonderfully, and they're like, great, Colt, What do you got? What's the best franchise for me? So let me give those of you a little background that are listening. There is something called Franchise Fit, and not all franchises are going to fit you, your lifestyle, your goals, and everything else. But Colt, let's talk about Five Star Bath. Five Star Bath Solutions is a great brand. Talk a little bit about that and who that's right for. Who would that fit?
Yes, love it. It's something I always say is when you're going into business ownership, if you're making a decision based off of passion, you're making a horrible decision. What you should be making a decision based off of is future profits that come, and is it going to get you to the goals that you want, right? And so everybody that I talk to, I say, what's your goal? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? And then decide what vehicle is going to get you the quickest, and get you there the quickest. Don't let your emotions come into it. Don't think because I love donuts, I want to open up a donut shop. Let the vehicle show you which one's going to be the fastest to get to the end goal. So when we take a look at Five Star Bath Solutions, it's a bath remodeling company. Our franchisees go in, they work with customers who want to redo their bathrooms, and we work with them to identify the ideal bathroom setup, contractors. And so we look for franchisees who are going to come in and maybe have a sales background, marketing background, good at talking with people, and they are ready just to funnel cash into a sales and marketing machine. The number one thing we look for is the people that say 5 years from now, I want to be at X potential when it comes to finances, because Five Star Bath Solutions is probably second to none from what I've seen in the home service industry. We have franchisees within their first year of business doing over $1 million revenue, which is crazy. $1 million revenue,
Over
12
a
months into
million?
running. Yeah, like it is
Over
bananas.
$1 million in revenue. Year one.
First year one. Crazy. They just ramp and they blow it out of the water. We have a corporate location that did almost $12 million last year at a 15% net. And so when you really start to take a look at it, you couldn't ask for anything better. You couldn't ask for a faster, better vehicle to get you to those goals. And so needless to say, Five Star Bath Solutions, along with the other ones, we all focus on how can we provide the quickest vehicle to the quickest financial freedom, not necessarily something that somebody's going to say I'm very passionate about.
Awesome. Give me another one. 1-800 Packouts. A lot of people don't even know what the Packout business is.
Yes, the pack out business is a hidden gem, is what I like to call it. So what happens is, let's say somebody's house floods, right? It floods, whether it's due to a pipe burst, a hurricane, natural disaster, or there's a fire. A restoration company is going to come in and they need to fix that property. However, within the property, there's a lot of things impeding that restoration company from working: your beds, your couches, your chairs. And so a company has to come in and do what's called a pack out, where they take all the contents of your house, they pack it out, they clean it, and they store it in a facility while the restoration is happening. And so 1-800 Packouts, that's what our franchisees go in and do. They take the contents, they pack them up, they clean them, store them while the restoration is happening, and then we bring them back into the property. And so what I love about this industry as a whole is, one, a lot of it is insurance based. And anytime something is insurance based, there's a lot of security within it. And when taking a look at a business, the number one thing you should be looking at is, there going to be demand in a hot market, in a low market, and everything in between. And so Packouts franchisees, whether there's a recession or not, people's houses are still going to burn. People's houses are going to flood. There's going to be natural disasters, and the business is going to be necessary no matter what. And so I love it for that aspect alone. But then when you take a look at the financials, it is absolutely crazy. We have franchisees doing $9 million a year revenue who have private planes that they purchase from owning this Packouts business, which, I mean, when you're once again looking at business ownership, could you ask for anything more than millions of dollars in revenue plus being able to have that financial freedom? I mean, we have a franchisee in San Diego who last year did 2.4 million and 800,000 net based off of that. And it is just crazy what happens. And so going back to, the approach we take when looking at businesses, we don't go for the fads. We don't go for the fancy. We go for financial freedom and the quickest vehicle to get there. And Packouts is not only a fantastic choice, but it's a secure choice due to the industry that it's in.
And the first two brands we spoke about, Five Star Bath Solutions and 1-800 Packouts, give me the investment numbers. I don't know if I heard those.
Yeah, so Bath Solutions all in, depending on how many territories you want to get up and running with. Typically Our franchisees come in at about a 3-unit pack. That's what we see work the best from a viability standpoint, give them plenty of space to be able to grow in the future. You're going to be anywhere between 3 to 500,000 to get in. And depending on the amount of territories and vehicles you want up front, 1-800 pack outs. Most of our franchisees start with 1 or 2 territories. This one's a little bit different of an investment because we have a requirement of a 5,000 to 10,000 square foot warehouse where they store the pack outs. But you're going to be anywhere between 250 to 350,000 to get up and running. And so when you take a look at the financials behind it, it's like, oh my gosh, that type of money to open up and run this business, to have 10 years of the finances we just went through. There's no better investments that I've seen in the space.
Yeah. And you could leverage obviously an SBA loan and get in business much quicker that way, as opposed to saving your pennies.
Amen to that. And that's the great thing is, in the service industry that we're in, there's a lot of collateral. That's great. There's warehouses, there's equipment. And so SBA lenders love it for that reason. And I always tell people I'd rather use somebody else's money to get into business and slowly pay them back rather than drain my coffers. And I love the SBA for that reason.
So Colt, there are a lot of difficult pieces of launching a business. Certainly a franchise you get into because it's certainly easier. There's a lot more hand holding. So describe that process and how 5-Star as a family of brands is really making things easier for people in this process, because as you said earlier, a lot of people getting into franchises are first-time business owners.
Yes. Yeah. So what we've seen over the years is there's going to be a couple of difficulties that people face when deciding that they want to get not only into business ownership, but launching a franchise. The first difficulty is one, making the decision to do it. People tend to, crap their pants when they start looking at business ownership. And so we always say, dive into it. You're used to this. You've been following systems your entire career. You've been working within corporate America that has training and support and systems in place for you. A franchise does the same exact thing, but it has a lot more potential and freedom on the back end for you to control it, which is great. And so diving in, making that decision, and then once they get up and running, there's a learning curve associated with it. Learning curve about the industry you're diving into, about marketing and sales. And so what we've done at 5-Star Franchising is we've said, what are the largest pain points of not only existing franchisees, but franchisees that are ramping? And what can we do to provide systems to take those pain points away and allow somebody to progress that much quicker? And so we focus quite a bit on marketing support for our franchisees from day one. How can we help you generate leads? How can we help you get revenue through the door? What can we do to help you ramp? A lot on the training aspect. So how can we train you and allow you to become an expert in the space as quickly as possible? And the last one being a lot on the support aspect, knowing we're going to push hard and the marketing dollars are going out and sales are going to be coming in and jobs are going to be coming through. We are here to support you every step of the way, no matter how small or big the question, no matter how small or big the problem you face. And so our core value that we have at 5-Star Franchising is empowering the success of our franchise partners, and every system that we have built is designed around that. And going back to the first question you asked around acquisition for, versus a franchise system, man, I can't tell you how many times business owners have not had somebody to look to help them, to see what they're doing wrong. And that's our main focus with every single system within our umbrella.
Yeah, I'm glad you added that, because I describe to people, when you join a franchise, it's like joining a mastermind, except you're joining a mastermind of people doing exactly what you're doing. So if you want to own a private plane, you have somebody to look to ask, how do I get a private plane? How did you do that? Right?
Amen to that. Yeah, and that's the great thing about it. And they benefit from your success. They're part of the system. They want it to grow. They want more locations. They want more brand reputation. So not only is it you have the peers around you to ask, but also they're open and they're willing, because the more they can help you, the more it benefits them and the franchise system they bought into as well.
Absolutely. So what is the biggest mistake that you see people make that get into a franchise?
Yeah. It's so funny. The biggest mistake I've seen without fail is people step into a franchise and think it's guaranteed success because of the same reasons we just talked about: the support, the training, the systems that are in place. owning a business is still hard. You're still going to have some difficulties. You're going to run into issues. And so the biggest mistake that I see is people that come in and say, well, because it is a franchise, I'm not going to work as hard. I'm not going to take the accountability aspects behind it. And it's no, you're still in business ownership. What are we talking about? Everything depends on you. The example I always like to give is, let's say we're going into the summer months. I'm looking a little pudgy and I want to shed off some pounds. And
Yep.
I decide that I want to hire a personal trainer to help me put together a diet, put together my weightlifting system. All of that is great. I have the support system in place, but it's still up to me to get my butt off the couch, get to the gym, and follow the system. And if summertime comes and I'm still a little pudgy, it's on me. And it's the same with the franchise system. It's still on you to make that business successful. You just have all the resources and the training and support in the background to help you along the way.
Colt, you've been absolutely fantastic, sharing a tremendous amount of wisdom. And in a moment, I'm going to ask for that final piece of wisdom for today, but I want to let the audience know that you have 6 outstanding brands. We covered several of them today. We'll do some additional tidbits we can tie to this episode for people that want to experience a little taste of each of the brands in our fun format at the end. But why don't you share with us one piece of wisdom that you would say is the cornerstone of your success?
Oh, yeah. Cornerstone of my success. I'd say as a whole, it's probably my ambition and desire to continually learn. And this is actually the advice I give to anybody that talks with me. To this day, I read anywhere between 2 to 4 business books a week. I pound through education. I love education. And I think it's the number one thing that people could do, whether in a franchise system, whether considering purchasing a franchise, is how can you educate yourself in an efficient manner to be able to make good decisions? And that's how I live my life. And so not only the advice I give is educate yourself constantly, but if you are looking at a franchise system, use someone like Lance who has the experience, the correct education, the efficiencies to help you with it. Consistently educate yourself in the best manner so you can not only perform more efficiently and effectively, but progress a lot faster for that reason.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I love that answer. And Colt, you've been amazing. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Thank you, Lance. I love these conversations.
If you're ready to talk about franchise opportunities, hit the link below to schedule a call. My services are free, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.